Hi, CMattDye here. Thanks for stopping by and checking out today's video. Hopefully you're having an awesome day. And I'm starting a new series here called Token Thursday. This is where I just talk about Cardano Native Tokens. Let me know in the comment section below what you like, what you don't like about this video, because I want to make it as good as it can be. And that without feedback from the community, I'm just doing what I like. So what I want to do is talk about these. I want to talk about the movers of the top 24 hours, 7 days, and 30 days, and then we'll talk about the best of the best from that perspective. I think that's the best way to do it, because then you're getting some good movers, but you also want ones with good volume and liquidity. So let's get into it. Day over day, 24 hours, we're looking at Society, NTX, Copy, MinSwap, and World Mobile Token. Now, Society obviously is Ape Society. NTX is an AI token. Copy, obviously Cornucopia is. They're really good. MinSwap is the best DEX on Cardano right now. Basically, you have three main ones: MinSwap, Wing Riders, and Sunday Swap. And my order right now, MinSwap would be the best, then followed by Wing Riders, and then Sunday Swap rounding out the bottom. There's probably some other DEXs, yeah, but those are the three main ones from my perspective. So that's what you have. 7 days, you have AGIX, Society, Copy, NTX, and ADA. ADA is a favorite of mine. They're a lending and borrowing platform. AGIX is Singularity Net. They're an AI-driven platform. And then if we go month over month, we get AGIX, CNETA, NTX, Copy, and Mira, followed by ADA down below. So that's kind of interesting. That gives us some to actually start to look at. So I'm going to pick out AGIX, NTX, Copy, and ADA out of all of those to look at. And, we'll go from there. All right, so let's jump into these charts first with AGIX. AGIX and NTX are going to be very similar charts. So just to give that disclaimer. And I like to go to the daily. That's what I like to do. Usually when I'm looking at projects to get into, I'll look at the daily first. Sometimes I'll jump out to the weekly just to see what's going on. And then I'll jump down to maybe the hourly and then maybe a more granular level to enter. So that's kind of what I do. You can see here with AGIX, you had some volume over here in October with some selling. It bought up a little bit. Some people were selling, so I imagine these were some new entrants right here, and this is probably somebody who had owned it for a while and they just saw an opportunity to get out. It's my opinion. That's what I'm thinking. And then we're seeing all of this move here, followed by some buyers and some more sellers. I'm assuming those sellers again were holders for a long time. I have done zero wallet analysis on this. These are just my thoughts from looking at the chart. Just FYI. Then a lot of sideways move, and we had some buying. Definitely a little selling here. Got to have sellers with your buyers. But we had this move up, and after this move, and when I say sellers, they were more aggressive. And right here on this tail, these sellers were more aggressive. But the buyers obviously won out, because after this consolidation here, we had another massive move up. And since January, basically this one has gone from 18 cents to $1.60. It didn't stay at $1.60 for too long, but that's where it went. So that's a massive move. You had a lot of volume here, and now you're having less volume here. So my prediction is what I'm thinking. This would need to stay above 126, maybe 127. and it can keep moving higher. The volume is less, which is fine. So if it does move higher, make a new high, and this is at 165.34, it would have to move over that, and it would probably get over 180, probably reject around 180 to 2, and then it would pull back, and that would give you a good entry probably down in this range. The other scenario is it could falter here. It could have some rejection, and that would be anywhere up here. I would keep an eye on 145 would be a very interesting level to keep an eye on. 155 and 165. Those would be all areas that I would keep a close eye on, with an emphasis on that 145 level. It can get below, but it would need to get back up above it. So that's why that's interesting there. And you can see it did get back above it, and volume is kind of low here, which means it can actually find support. But it would have to do it. If it gets back below and volume starts to pick up on the downside, then it can come back down and retest this area, perhaps even going slightly lower. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now with AGIX. It's not something I would jump into right now because it's had such a move up. But I was in it down here, because I was not in for this. It is what it is, sometimes you're just not in everything, and that's fine. That's something that I'm totally okay with, because there's so many opportunities in the world, in crypto, in different markets. You don't have to be in everything. So next chart, let's go to NTX. I don't know why I'm going that way. NTX. All right, here we go. Let's jump out to the daily, and you'll see the similarities right when I bring this chart up. And you can see that it didn't have the setup the AGIX had, but it was similar. You can see that you had this little buy up here. Volume was kind of dismal, but I mean, it's still there. You had this buy up into some selling, and then once you had this volume pop off, you had a little bit of consolidation into a higher move up, into more consolidation, and as price got up here, this is probably some long-term holders that are, like, hey, the token's up, let me get out, and buyer stepped in, and then the volume started to just rock off as price started to move up. Now this one is a lower cap than AGIX, and you can see how it's fluctuating a lot more. Like this, for example, this went from 20 cents down south of 6 cents, barely south of 6 cents, but then buyer stepped in and started buying it. And now it's kind of just there, but you can see this volume here. This volume is actually pretty darn good. However, this is a little bit lower, so this looks more like a rejection scenario. So if we get rejection here, you can easily see the token come back down in this area, but you do have a lot of buyers. So are they still going to be present, or are they not, is going to be the big question. I think right now NTX is doing some kind of ISPO or staking, something like that, where if you have to own a certain amount of token and have that in your wallet and have that staked to that pool. I believe that's how that is. So that's where they are right now with tap tools, and with pretty much anything. The supply, this is the max supply that's going to be out on the market. But having the circulating supply is pretty difficult for projects, for anybody to do. The actual project has to report those numbers. So when you go to CoinMarketCap, when you see circulating supply, those are the projects are actually telling them how much the circulating supply is. So there's no way to really be able to calculate that without having user input. At least that's what I've heard from everybody. So that's kind of what I would look at there. It does look like a rejection is setting up. It could continue to push up, and it would be very ugly for me, in my opinion, if it was going to, but it can. And I would say one of the main areas to watch is this 20 cent level. If it were to kind of take that out, I would assume price would come down here, maybe slightly lower. But that's kind of what I'm thinking with NTX. I don't have a strong vibe on it, but that's what I'm seeing. So next, let's go to Kopi. And with AGIX and NTX, AI has been a huge word for this year. So AI, like everything AI, people love, they're gravitating towards. And, AI is doing a lot of good stuff. So I am a fan of Singularity Net. I saw the CEO speaking at, was it Rare Bloom last year? And that was kind of neat to see that, to hear him talk, and that's the first time I really actually saw him. And then I watched a bunch of YouTube videos after that to kind of get a little bit more insight into the project. Looked into their white paper website and joined their Discord for a little while. So next, I want to go to Cornucopias or Kopi token. Now, Kopi token is very interesting. You can see over here when the market fell, that was Kopi started on, I want to say it was Binance, and then they had to migrate their token over, and that's what this was. So when it dropped, I was getting involved, and that's when I first bought into Kopi, just because I feel that it is strong. It's a strong project, and this price was really, really good. And then lately, let's see, when was this? January 22nd. So around the end of January, and this was January 31st. Around the end of January, you saw it starting to go higher here. All right, I had to get a little bit of water there. My voice is kind of going in and out. You saw price start to push up here, which was very, very interesting. Now, if we go to the longer term, we have a couple areas of interest on the chart. So you have 11 point, we'll just call it 11 cents, 11 and a half cents, and then 13 cents. So those are some areas that I'm looking at right now as areas of interest on the chart. 15 cents is a thing. 17 cents is a thing. So that's kind of what I would be watching up here. You can see that you did have the largest volume was over here, and you can see that there were sellers, but then you had people coming in buying. So you definitely had some buyers. There's a lot of people that are interested in cornucopias. I was a little bit late to the game of cornucopias, so it is what it is. Like I said, I started buying the token in here whenever it started to fall. I did have a little message on my Discord saying I'm liking this. I think I probably said something over here about how their token was going to open up and they were going to start transferring, and you could see a little bit of a drop and I would be interested. And then I started talking about how I was buying some in here, because that's how I roll in the Discord. I don't tell people what to do. I tell people what I'm doing, and I might make recommendations based on what I'm doing. But everybody does their own research. They grow. That's how you grow as people. You do your own research. You learn different things, and then everybody can bring something different to the table. That's how it works. And that's how, and real investment club functions. It's just a lot of fun. But anyway, looking at this go higher, you can see this volume here was met by selling, and that's what I would expect, that 11 to 11 and a half cent level, to find some resistance. So with that resistance found, what happens? Can price push through it? Of course it can. Can price pull back a little bit? Of course it can. So what would I be looking for? Well, if this thing goes below 10 cents, probably below 9.5 cents, I would expect a little bit more of a pullback here. If it is going to continue higher, ideally it stays over that 10.5 cent mark. But if it were to come down, stay over 10 cents, I'd be okay with that. So those are the two levels I would be really watching if it is going to go higher, just because there is a lot of momentum in it right now. Cornucopia is eventually going to have a 3.84 billion supply. That's a large supply, but with everything that they're doing, I don't think it's that large of a supply overall. So you have, Clay Nation has a large supply. Boss Planet's going to be large. Cornucopias. So you have the larger metaverses, and their token is fine because they have a lot of things that they're actually building, that they're doing. In the short term, that's what I'm looking at. This is a good resistance point, and is it going to be able to drop from that? So that's one thing that I would really be paying attention to here. But it is doing well. The token's holding up very well. It's looking good, and it's a token that I like long term. So that's pretty cool to see. And next, let's go to ADA. And that's a project that I've been in for a very long time. I was in their initial token sale. Okay, here we go. And let's go to the daily chart. And you can see this is kind of what they have done. They started over here. This is where people started listing it. It did drop quite a bit. And then it went higher here. It really had a lot of strong selling up here. And then it dropped, and this was kind of like the introduction to the bear market. It just kind of dropped, and this was bear 1, and here's bear 2, and it dropped a lot. And this was a great area to start buying some. I probably bought somewhere in here, most likely. I didn't catch this low, so I mean, it is what it is, but it would have been good. But usually I don't catch the exact low. I don't sell the exact high, but you don't really have to be able to do that to make money. I've seen people catch the low and lose money. It kind of happens. So it is what it is. But anyway, you saw this decent move off the low here, and it actually does look really good. It looks good to me. And now we have this move up. So what is this going to turn into? Well, glad you asked. It can really turn into a couple of different things. This volume is beautiful. Like, I like seeing this volume. This pullback is a little far, but as long as it stays over, I would say 115. Yeah, as long as it stays over 115, which it should ideally stay over 120, and it should be able to continue pushing up and push up strongly. So if that's what's going to happen, because this move is pretty good, and now this move needs to turn into something stronger. So let me scroll down here. And I would really want to see this start to take off and get over 170 fairly quickly. So if it moves below 115, something else is happening. This pattern's probably over. And then it's going to just go sideways for a little bit. If it stays over that and starts pushing up, ideally getting over 170, I think that would look fairly okay. And that 165 to 173, that's going to be a resistance zone. So if it were to just push into that very strongly, hold some levels, and then I could see it continue pushing up AADA's platform is up and running. They're, making money. They're doing their lending borrowing platform, which is pretty cool. It's token lending and borrowing. I like that because you can borrow a token, but you can have a different token as collateral. So I do like that. And, I'm a fan of their platform. Like I said, I was in the initial sell of the token. So that was fun for me. It was the only one I've actually been in, just because I'm in the US and a lot of them you can't participate in, by a lot, like 99% of them. Thanks, US government. Let's go. So that's really what I'm looking at with AADA. I like it, but those are the levels that I'm going to keep an eye on for that. As another token to look at, I want to look at MinSwap really quickly, just because they are the best DEX on Cardano right now. There's a lot of good DEXs building. Like, I'm in the beta test for Vi Finance right now. You have Genius X coming out. Genius Yield coming out is what I meant to say. So Vi Finance is going to be coming out soon with their platform. Genius Yield is coming out soon with their platform. And I think those two will take over as the best DEXs. However, right now, MinSwap is the best, and you can see that their token is starting to go a little crazy. So if we scroll down here, all right, here we are. So when they first launched, you saw their token jumped at 35 cents, and then it just started to drop from there. And then after that, it kind of dropped, and then you saw a lot of buying in November. You saw large buyers in November. And then you saw a big sideways consolidation move followed by another big move up. And now the token is starting to kind of go a little bit nuts. You saw this little consolidation here, followed by another move up. Now, is this going to come out and take out these highs, or is it going to consolidate a little bit more? Kind of have to wait and see on that. But right now the token is looking very good. The overall supply is huge. I don't know why they would need such a large supply, but that's what they have. And I think that might hurt them a little bit going forward, especially with new DEXs coming out who do have lower token supplies. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on that. But like I said, the circulating supply, a lot of times they don't really calculate it very well. You can see that MinSwap is giving them information. They have 689 million out right now, which is 13.8% of the supply. And the supply is going a little crazy. So that's not that bad. And that's pretty cool that they're actually giving them the information. The team over at MinSwap, from my perspective, seems like a decent team. They really do get things done. They work on things. Whenever there's an issue, they'll get it fixed fairly quickly. They communicate with other projects, and from that perspective, they're a really good team. And I am a fan of MinSwap. I'm just not a big fan of their token long term. However, it's doing really well right now. And this area down here is a big area, that 5.1 cents there. You can see this going up. It's actually pretty strong. I would say 6.5 cents would be support if this is going to come back down again, which I don't know if it's going to, because this is a strong move right here. Yeah, the volume's a little bit less than it was over here, but that doesn't really mean much. Once it starts to take this high out, you want to see the volume kind of pick up a little bit. But other than that, it kind of is what it is. So it's looking really good, and it should be able to take out a penny, I would think. Just looking at this chart, looking at everything, 9 cents to a penny is going 0.09 to a penny, I should say, going to be a possible resistance. But from this chart, I would expect it to be able to take that out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for MinSwap. I wanted to talk about it a little bit just because it is a mover on the list. Before I end the video, I want to talk about a couple of new things that TapTools has come out with. They have the volume profiler, which shows you the different levels of investor. Like this person has 1 million ADA, they're a big buyer. This person has 250,000 to 1 million ADA, they're a big buyer. And the 0 to 5,000 are mostly sellers, but pretty much even. 5,000 to 25,000 ADA, mostly a buyer. So that kind of just shows you different levels. I don't know how I feel about this. It's probably helpful somehow, just to see like what people are doing. I think it's always good to see what others are doing. So from that perspective, it's kind of interesting, but it wouldn't sway my decision one way or the other. I would have to have a decision first, and then that would just give you a little bit more credence based on what that decision is that you made. Weekly trades, that just shows you what's going on. MinSwap, SundaeSwap, and if Wing Riders, this just shows you what's going on with all of those platforms, and I do like that. I like that a lot. Distribution just shows you the different wallets and what's going on. So those are two new features that TapTools is rolling out with, and those are both going to be for pro users. So that's kind of interesting. I just wanted to highlight that a little bit since this video is 100% using TapTools for charting and whatnot. So if you like this video, appreciate throw a like. If you enjoy my content, subscribe. I do crypto token analysis on Tuesdays. Now Thursdays, I'm going to start doing Cardano Native Token analysis. I do CNFT updates, Cardano NFTs, because I really do like Cardano, and I believe there's a lot of potential for Cardano, and that's why I'm in this space predominantly. So with that, if you want me to do the videos slightly differently, let me know your thoughts, and we can talk about it, because intellectual debate is how we all got here in the first place. So with that, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you around the crypto markets. Take care.